It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Time for the Southern California Writers Association Hump Day Book Tour. Every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., we welcome a new writer to our Facebook page to talk about their books and their work. This morning, we are pleased to welcome Tara Laskowski. Tara's debut suspense novel, One Night Gone, won the Agatha Award, Macavity Award, and the Anthony Award. That's like a triple crown of the writing world for everybody to know. Her second novel, The Mother Next Door, is coming out in 2 weeks. It's available for pre-order. Is that correct? It is correct, because I went
of course.
I went on Amazon and found out. Oh, you just happen to have a copy there. Good. She also wrote 2 short story collections, Modern Manners for Your Inner Demons and Bystanders, which is the most classic title of all time. She has won the Agatha Award and Thriller Award for her short fiction and was the longtime editor of the online flash fiction journal SmokeLong Quarterly. A graduate of Susquehanna University and George Mason University, Tara grew up in Pennsylvania and lives in Virginia. Welcome, Tara.
Hello.
So we were talking a little bit before we went on air about domestic suspense and how creepy and suspenseful those types of novels can be. Do you want to talk a little bit about why you write those novels and what is the appeal to you?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I really like horror, like novels and short stories and stuff. And I was born on Halloween, so I've got it, honestly.
There we go. That explains a lot. Yeah.
But I never really wanted to write horror. I mean, I can't say never because who knows what will happen. But but when I'm spending a lot of time with a character or a situation or something, I want it to be super creepy, but I don't want it to be gory horror. And so domestic suspense felt like a really good fit for me because you can do some really fun things. You can get kind of gothic, you can get hints of supernatural, or you could get hints of thriller, or more sort of action kind of stuff. I think there's a lot you can do within that without going full out dead bodies everywhere, because I really like that slow burn kind of suspense, both reading that and writing that, and so that's kind of why I started writing in that genre, I guess.
So your first book came out to multiple awards, and that was exciting, I'm sure. Do you want to just talk briefly about the premise for that book? And
yeah, so One Night Gone is poster behind me.
Is that your first book, or is that your first published book?
That was my first novel.
First novel, okay.
So I had 2 short story collections out before that. So One Night Gone was my first novel. And it is set in a beach town, a wealthy beach town during the off season. And this woman who's recently divorced gets this job house sitting for this gorgeous house on the beach. And while she's there, she starts hearing the story about this teenage girl who went missing at the beach 30 years before, during the height of summer touristy season. And she kind of connects with this girl in her story. And so she starts sort of almost cold case investigating it. But she finds that this beach town, the locals aren't really happy about these secrets of theirs being uncovered. So that's kind of the premise of it. And it was really exciting to win all those awards. Unfortunately, the whole award season was during 2020. And so everything got canceled. And so all my galas and banquets and all that stuff was all moved to online, which was kind of sad, because part of the fun of all that, is celebrating with people and your other writer friends and all that. So, but it is what it is.
Well, I think if it's any consolation, your book, I think, kept a lot of people company during the pandemic and during the quarantine. So, and if anything else, it probably heightened the creep factor when you're talking about you're locked in your house and you're starting to really see your neighbors, some people for the first time. So
yeah, and that's the other thing about, we were talking about domestic suspense and this I was thinking about, so The Mother Next Door, which is the book that's coming out in a few weeks, it's set on Halloween, like during the Halloween season. And it's all like, it all takes place in this cul-de-sac of this like kind of upper middle class suburban neighborhood. And like all these moms that live on the street, and they throw this famous Halloween party every year, and they, are kind of a clique, and they're like, they're pretty powerful at the school and like in the community and stuff. And but they did a bad thing, and now someone's threatening to expose this bad thing. And so as the book goes on, it starts to feel almost claustrophobic, I think, for some of, like, for the moms, and because they've built this empire and this world, and now they have nowhere to kind of run to, right? And I wrote it while we were all like quarantining and everything was so close to home, and I wonder if I mean, it had to have influenced what I was writing about, because everybody was home and you couldn't go anywhere, and it felt so claustrophobic. So,
well, and it is, and as we said before, during the quarantines, at least I can speak for myself. I met neighbors I didn't know prior to the quarantine, because you're out and about, and at 7:30 all the garage doors go up and everybody goes to work, and then 6:30 everybody comes home, the garage doors go up for a minute and go down. Yeah. But when that doesn't happen, and you start to see people walking around, and you start to see them normal patterns and whatever, you could see how something like this could happen. It may not be your normal life, but now our experience is different. So the characters in the book, talk about the women in
the moms. Okay, so they've called themselves the Ivy Five, yeah, because they live on Ivy Woods Drive.
Ivy Wood, that's right, yeah.
And so there's this new mom that moves into town.
So they have their own identity that has a name,
right?
Ooh, that's good,
right? But the problem is there's only 4 of them. So they're called the Ivy Five, but there's only 4 of them. And so when this new mom moves into town, her first question is like, what happened to the 5th mom?
It's the new math. Yeah.
But they're all, it was really hard when I was writing to keep like 5 moms very distinct, right? Because in my first novel, I had 2 characters and I alternated point of view. But like one of them was a teenager in the 80s, and then one of them was like a 40-year-old, like recently divorced person in like 2015. So they like their voices were easy, like their lives were so different. It was pretty easy to keep them apart. But when you're writing like about 5 moms who live on the same street and have this like kids around the same age, and they have like similar life experiences, they're walking around, it's harder. And so that was probably one of the most challenging things, I think. But I have like the ringleader, who's sort of like the fierce one who pulls them all together. And then I have the one that's sort of like bored and like, disinterested, and she's kind of like a little vapid. And then I have like the super cheerful, like Southern belle who like cooks everything for the bake sales. And then there's the like slightly like suspicious, like, like sort of sardonic kind of, she doesn't really trust anyone, and you have to like win her approval. So like I did, I feel like but it was like, it was hard. You kind of have to really, not stereotype, but you really have to put people into like characters into buckets, so that it's much easier for readers to kind of identify, okay, that's that mom,
Yeah, and not only that, but you have a lot of interactions and subtext to write between these characters.
Yeah.
And have to keep their characters in mind when you're writing that subtext. Did you know what you were getting yourself into when you started to write this book? And if you did, would you have written those characters?
This was my second novel, and everybody was telling me like, oh, your second novel is so hard to write. Oh, it's the worst. The second novel is worst. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so it's gonna be hard. That's fine. I had no idea how hard it was gonna be. And part of it was the fact that it was the pandemic, right? And the world was like, and like my son was home full time, and I was working from home, and it was like all my routines were gone. Part of it was that I was writing for the first time on a deadline, and I'm not used to writing like to a deadline. Like I'm used to just having, whatever, nobody wants this book. I'm writing it when I want to write it. Now it's like, somebody wants this book, I need to write it. And also I made the mistake of outlining the book before I wrote a word of it. I say make a mistake because I know a lot of writers actually have to do this, but I have found that I am not an outliner. And I outlined the book so much, and I thought I had everything figured out, that when I wrote it, I didn't pay any attention to like signals my brain were telling me, like, this isn't working, or this isn't. I just was like, I need to write this. This is my outline. I sold the book on proposal to this book. I need to do this. And I ended up having to throw the whole thing out.
How many words are we talking about?
70,000 words.
Oh, okay. That's
painful. And I threw it all away. So, I forget what your initial question was, but yeah, it was really hard to write this book. So.
Yeah, no, I think the initial question was, if you'd known how hard it was in the beginning to write this, would you have done it? So I think we're sort of getting our answer. But
I'm working on a third book now, so clearly I haven't learned my lesson. I'm still writing.
How many characters are in your third book?
Oh, a lot, yeah.
Well, you're a masochist like most writers, so yeah, we understand.
Yeah.
We understand.
Happens.
So is that your niche? Do you see you continuing to write in domestic suspense? And
I think so. I mean, I like it. I feel like there's, I may try to, veer off a little here and there. I guess I would maybe like to try something a little darker at some point. But I do like this is what I like to read a lot. And I feel like if you get excited about reading these kinds of things, then hopefully you'll be excited about writing them, But I think for me, it all is about the setting and the atmosphere. I feel like my niche is I need to find a creepy place. And once I have the creepy place, I can put people in it and make things bad happen, but if I can't see it, and if I'm not excited about the place that I'm writing about, then it feels to me like I'm writing in with this black screen behind me and there's nothing. So if I can really see a place and get into it, then that's kind of where I start.
So the setting for the Mother Next Door, is that your neighborhood? Do your neighbors now look at you and,
Yes, I've had several comments.
So, yeah.
No, but just reading the description, I've had several comments from them
I'm curious, does your neighborhood have a book club?
No, we don't.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
But there is a cul-de-sac right around the corner from me, and they do host this little Halloween potluck just for the neighborhood. That is where the similarities end for that book. But yeah, it is a kind of a mismatch of a bunch of different neighborhoods in this area. There's an urban legend in the book about this haunted railroad bridge, and there's a pretty famous haunted railroad bridge in Northern Virginia. And I kind of played with that idea. So I kind of took all these elements I liked and put them in one neighborhood.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. And so I have a question. Has being born on Halloween impacted your life in any way? That's my deep psychological question of the interview. How has
it is the best birthday you can possibly have. So I'm a little obsessed with Halloween, and not because it's my birthday. I just love Halloween. So yeah, I don't know if it's influenced other than making people step back from me when they find out how much I love creepy things.
Well, it's so funny. I didn't want to stop you, but there was a phrase that you said, a sentence, I just love a creepy place where I can make bad things happen. So if people remember nothing else about this and the title of your book, The Mother Next Door, that is the sentence that they need to remember about you. And I'm
there you go.
I'm sorry for your family. But anyway, this was so much fun. I hope that the book does well. I know it will. It's a perfect time for anybody looking for a great Halloween read. This is the book to buy. So you want to hold it up one more time?
Sure.
Oh, great. Can you hold it a
There
little
it
closer? Because
is.
that's a great cover.
Yeah. Thanks. It was fun.
Perfect. Okay. And where can people find your book, Tara?
And
Books.
I think it's available for pre-order pretty much anywhere that you buy books. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have links on my website, which is just taralaskowski.com. So if anybody wanted to go there and
Okay, well, we're going to put your website up in the description on the video. So if anybody's looking for it, they'll have it. And I have one quick question. I know we're out of time, but and this is a personal question. So are you going to continue to write standalones, or are you ever considering, or would you ever consider a series?
For now, I see myself as a standalone writer, but I wouldn't rule it out. I just haven't ever been moved, I guess, to write a series.
Okay, you hear that, Netflix? It's coming. All right, everybody. All right, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, everybody else who's here with us, joining us. We look forward to seeing you again. If you like this video, it will be on Facebook. Please share it with your friends. If you can buy Tara's book, that would be wonderful. If you can't, they have this place called the library where they let you borrow it for free. But if you do read it, please leave a review, because just as important to supporting writers as buying their book is leaving reviews. So I'm sure Tara appreciates it. We would appreciate it. So please do that. And we will see you next week on the SCWA Hump Day Book Tour. Thanks, everybody.